Assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnati Mirantasya Gananjaya Shalakaya Chakshurum Vitame Sena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 52. The chapter is called Scheduled Incarnations. Yataharu Bhagavati Nrinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati Sarvatmani Akidhladhare Iti Sankapya Varnaya Yataharu Bhagavati Nirnam Bhaktir Bhavishyati Sarvatmani Akiladhare Iti Sankapya Varnaya Yataharu Bhagavati Nirnam Bhaktir Bhavishyati Sarvatmani Akiladhare Iti Sankapya Varnaya Yatha, as much as Haro, unto the personality of Godhead, Bhagavati, unto the Lord, Nrinam, for human beings, Bhaktihi, devotional service, Bhavishyati, become enlightened, Sarva Atmani, the absolute whole, Akila Adare, unto the summum bonum, Iti, thus, Sankapya, by determination, Varnaya, describe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Hari, the supersoul of every living being and the summum bonum, source of all energies. Please repeat. Please describe the science of Godhead.
Please describe the science of Godhead.
With determination. And in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Hari, the super soul of every living being and the summum bonum, source of all energies. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is the philosophy of devotional service and the scientific presentation of man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prior to the age of Kali, there was no need for such a book of knowledge to know the Lord and His potential energies. But with the beginning of the age of Kali, human society gradually became influenced by 4 sinful principles, namely illegitimate connection with women, intoxication, gambling, and unnecessary killing of animals. Because of these basic sinful acts, man gradually became forgetful of his eternal relation with God. Therefore, man became blind, so to speak, to his ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is not to pass a life of irresponsibility like the animals and indulge in a polished way in 4 animal principles, namely eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. For such a blind human society in the darkness of ignorance, Srimad Bhagavatam is a torchlight to see things in proper perspective. Therefore, it was necessary to describe the science of God from the very beginning, or from the very birth of the phenomenal world. As we have already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam is so scientifically presented that any sincere student of this great science will be able to understand the science of God simply by reading it with attention, or simply by regularly hearing from the bona fide speaker. Everyone is hankering after happiness in life, but in this age, the members of human society, blind as they are, do not have the proper vision that the personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all happiness, because He is the ultimate source of everything. Janmadi asya yataha. Happiness in complete perfection without hindrance can be achieved only by our devotional relationship with Him. And it is only by His association that we can get free of distressful material existence. Even those who are after enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of the great science of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they will be successful at the end. Narada is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master to present this science with determination and in good plan. Narada was never advised to preach the principles of Bhagavatam to earn a livelihood. He was ordered by his spiritual master to take the matter very seriously in a missionary spirit. I'll read the verse again. Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, the supersoul of every living being and the summum bonum, source of all energies. So this is continuing the conversation between Narada and Vyasa, Dvapayana Vyasadeva, who compiled the Vedic literatures, instructed by his spiritual master, Naradaji, who received his knowledge from Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma received his first knowledge, the Vedas, from Krishna himself directly. So we follow a tradition of great teachers, including the most prominent teachers we call the Mahajanas, 12 Mahajanas. And in our Sampradaya, we can see Brahmaji, Narada, Vyasa are the foremost Mahajanas. They are the great authorities of Vedic knowledge. They above suspicion, they above material lackings, they on the transcendental plane, representing directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the proper way to understand. Proper guidance and attentive hearing and studying the Vedic knowledge. So the great teachers, including our current succession coming down to Srila Prabhupada and the senior Vaishnavas, we are trying to represent the message of Srimad Bhagavatam as sincerely as possible, to the benefit of everyone. And this is the only hope, as this particular verse explains, and also various purports. Vyasadeva, although he compiled the Vedic knowledge and he divided them into 4 sections. We had the Rig Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, Yajur Veda, complementary Vedas. He also compiled the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita is a chapter of Mahabharata. So he compiled all the various literatures. Nevertheless, Naradaji reminded him not to forget the most essential knowledge, which gives illumination and enlightenment for the fallen souls of this age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, we need a torchlight of knowledge. Om Agnati Mirandasya Kananjaya Shalakaya. We need that. Chakshu. Chakshu means eyes. One who sees through the eyes of Vedic knowledge, through the Vedic authorities. Knowledge cannot be accepted from speculative sources. We have to accept knowledge from perfect authorities who represent not only the message but personal purity and connection. This is we call a sampradaya or Sri Parampara. Is a proper connection through saintly personalities directly back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the way through, Krishna is helping us through these great representations, Mahajanas, great personalities, with great compassion and love. And we can see Srila Prabhupada, his personal example, how much he cared for his disciples, trying to raise their consciousness into a high understanding of devotional service, teaching us discipline. Disciples and grand disciples, we are eternally adapted to Srila Prabhupada. So much he gave us. So this is the mercy and love of Lord Sri Krishna himself coming down through these great teachers. Narada reminded Vyasa that you're giving us all the Vedic tools and knowledge, but you somehow or other not emphasizing the actual knowledge, Divya Jnana. So he encouraged to compile an information, the supreme Purana, the supreme knowledge, Bhagavata Purana, to emphasize and also describe the importance of devotional service through the examples of great saintly personalities, great avatars, great rishis, great Raja rishis, and their message, their example, coming right into the age of Kali, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally comes and reinforcing the Yuga Dharma. The chanting of the holy names of Krishna had been going on in the circle of great, stalwart, highly advanced Mahabhagavatas. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to spread this mercy and love in the form of the holy names, Sankirtan Yagna, the Yuga Dharma. So this is the culmination of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized and encouraged and instructed that one should study Srimad Bhagavatam under an able guidance, under an expert. Any important topic, subject matter should be studied under an able spiritual master. Has to be a master. So we take encouragement, strength, determination, and correct understanding. A senior Vaishnava, an advanced devotee, the spiritual master can clarify our doubts or confusion on the path of devotional service. It is not an easy topic because we are in a material world. It's a place of confusion and bewilderment, especially in this age of Kali. We can see our whole society, material world, is misled, godless. Therefore, they victimized by sensuality, sinful activities, as Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex, meat eating, slaughtering innocent creatures, disregarding the dharma of this age. Therefore, Narada very much anxiously reminding Vyasa to compile a literature that it brings the attention to the actual message, which is Bhagavad Dharma, more precisely Yuga Dharma for this age, which is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. The Bhagavatam is also known as the Supreme Purana, Bhagavata Purana. As we know, originally Vyasadeva compiled 18 Puranas, and each guna, each modes of nature, had 6 Puranas. So we had the description of satisfies the need of tamaguna. Obviously, Vyasadeva was catering for all kinds of people. Gradually elevate their consciousness, even if it's just step by step. Then, of course, the Raja section and the Sattva, the last 6 Puranas. There are many famous, prominent Puranas there: Skanda Purana, Padma Purana, Vishnu Purana, Matsya Purana. There are quite a few Puranas there, emphasizing the importance of bhakti and the description of great avatars and their teachings. But finally, he compiled the Vedanta, the conclusion of all Vedas, the Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, it's a very important subject for Vaishnavas, especially for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because we follow the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a great preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is advised that we take it seriously. Srila Prabhupada was so particular that we attend the classes. He mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasa emphasizes that by regular hearing and attendance of the descriptions and pastimes, hearing these pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam, one actually becomes purified. His material tendencies and desires get purified, becomes zero, and then we develop the actual desire of the living entity, is to serve Krishna with love and devotion. Of course, it's a gradual process. Therefore, we have to hear constantly in the association of Vaishnavas and encourage each other. The actual definition, according to Srila Prabhupada, of the association of devotees, how to associate with Vaishnavas, is discussing the topics of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the true meaning of the association of devotees, that we are all together and we strengthen each other, help each other to remain focused, and giving each other love and encouragement. Because it's not an easy path. There's so many distractions on the path of devotional service. We all know, individually and collectively, that we have to be very attentive to our regular duties, sadhana bhakti. There are certain rules to follow. We cannot be complacent. But in the association of devotees, we feel strength. We chant together, we preach together, we do Sankirtan together. It is very important for us, this Sangha, association of devotees. We should not take it lightly. We should take it very seriously. And this is the advice of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada. And in this particular verse, a great encouragement, Naradaji and Vyasa, and not to speak of Srila Prabhupada in his purport, that this scientific process, this Srimad Bhagavatam, gradually will raise our consciousness to the platform of pure devotion. Therefore we go gradually, of course. We study the fundamentals, the Bhagavad Gita, understand our true position, our relationship with Krishna. Then we go Srimad Bhagavatam, again, gradually go, understand the science. And by the time we arrive to the 9th canto, 10th canto, we have much more maturity to understand these esoteric, very deep, transcendental, exalted topics of Krishna's pastimes and the mood and sweetness. What is that for us? Something that we can just enjoy or relish. More than that. We're not here to enjoy Krishna. We're here to give pleasure to Him. So it's another level of understanding of Krishna consciousness. First we're trying to enjoy, of course we're trying to replace the old habits and get some pleasure, get some ruchi and taste from this. But as we advance in Krishna consciousness, and we should advance, we should not just stay in one place, we should go, we should brave enough to embrace more spiritual advancement, study deeply, inquire, and learn more. And gradually, and patiently, we come to a platform where we just want to please the devotees, Srila Prabhupada, his desires, not to speak of the divine couple. We want to give them pleasure. That's a very, very pure platform. And I think all sincere sadhakas aiming for that. It's easy to say these things, of course. It takes time, sometimes many lifetimes to come to a very exalted position. But as devotees, we seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. You can see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, always praying for the blessings of the Vaishnavas, even just to compile the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was so hesitant, but he was encouraged by the assembly of the Vaishnavas. Please compile Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So then he compiled. So we need the blessings of the devotees for any service. If you want to be a successful book distributor, if you want to be a successful pujari or anything, any service to Krishna, we need the blessings of the assembly of the devotees. Somehow or other, we need to seek the approval, whether we are on the right path, whether we are getting distracted or whether we have whether we are actually pleasing Srila Prabhupada. And we have to also self-reflection. We have to always check. We have a checklist. Okay, am I doing right? We should be honest enough with ourselves whether we actually follow the guidelines and instructions of our dear Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is our grandfather for many of us. Some devotees are directly initiated by Prabhupada, some grand disciples. And so we are very loyal to him, we are very faithful to him, and we want to remain sincere sadhakas, students, and develop ourselves. Krishna consciousness is a very sublime, beautiful process, and we can only be grateful. As time goes, we gradually realize what we have received. We are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees. I'm very grateful to all devotees because just their very presence purifies me. And not to speak of discussing Krishna Katha, discussion of beautiful pastimes. And sometimes we need to correct each other also. So requires some humility, humbleness. Trinar api sunichena. We sing that every morning. Shiksha is very important for Vaishnava students. Because without these basics, we never understand. We just we're just on the surface. We're just not getting it. So we want to go deeper. We have to grab the mercy, serve, please the devotees, hear about Krishna, visit holy places if we can, get more association. Of course, the most important is hearing and chanting. Constantly hear. Go back to the authorities. Go back to Srila Prabhupada, his books, his tapes, and attend the classes. Because that way, we gradually, we can see Srimad Bhagavatam is a very scientific process. Makes it very clear to us who Krishna is, the summum bonum, as Srila Prabhupada says, the ultimate conclusion. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the true Vedanta. It is the summary of Vedanta Sutra, and the Vaishnava Acharyas made it scientific and clear, and full of Vedic references. Srila Prabhupada often quoted from Skanda Purana, Padma Purana. They were very often quoted because some of these Puranas were really pointing towards the importance of Krishna's message and his avatars and his pastimes. So they are very prominent Puranas, the last 6 Puranas, the mode of goodness, Sattvic, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme Purana. And we have quite a few verses, slokas in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, introductory slokas, glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and why it is so important. Each verse is so powerful and we can meditate on it for months. And I'll just read, we all know this verse, most of us know this, just a little reminder. This is Canto 1, Chapter 3, 43. Krishne sva damo pagate dharma kanana dibi saha kalo nasta drishnam esha unako dunoditaha. Translation. This Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. For me, this verse, it tells everything. This is just my inspirational. It tells me everything about the Bhagavatam, this particular verse. It's as brilliant as the sun, such an illumination of the heart. The jivas have been wandering in this cosmic universe for many, many lifetimes. Who knows? Time memorial, could be millions of lifetimes, searching, seeking, lost our true original awareness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and our relationship with Him, searching aimlessly. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam gives us a ray of hope, encouragement, emphasis that there is such personality, a divine personality as Krishna himself. Therefore the Vedas establish him. There's so many ways. This is a very important verse. And persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So this also encourages us to distribute transcendental knowledge far and wide for the benefit of everyone. Because a devotee, even in the early stages, we feel for our brothers and sisters. We can see, it's not difficult to see how much pain and suffering and anxiety are in the material world. We want to distribute. We want to distribute the holy name for the benefit of everyone. It's not just a selfish affair that I'll take care of my own spiritual life and I'll be okay, I'll be peaceful and rightly situated. That may be the initial attempt that we want to fix ourselves and become Vaishnavas and engage in proper devotional service under guidance. The next level, that we want to share this. This is already an advancement because we care, we feel compassion, some kind of love. And as our devotional service is maturing, when we actually come to the platform of loving relationship with Krishna and the devotees, we take the divine teachings and words of our spiritual masters very seriously. They're definitely on a platform of compassion. They feel for people. They come here to enlighten us, giving us the mercy, giving us the inspiration and the strength to find a solution to these problems. Because the material world, this material world, is full of problems. Who can deny that? Full of problems. And the main problems, as we know, birth, disease, old age, and death. So we have these major problems. Modern scientific research, modern scientific achievements, what they can do. Can they stop this? Then what is the value? We are confronted with these problems. We are eternal souls, and we're seeking solutions to these problems. We cannot be locked in the material world, thinking that we can be happy this way, that way, trying to find some solutions to these problems. Therefore, the Bhagavatam offers the ultimate solution. Here is the process of devotional service. And the whole Bhagavatam gradually helps us to advance in devotional service, in our realizations, in our practice, in our purity, because purity takes time because we are conditioned souls. We cannot artificially, superficially practice devotional service. Therefore, we have to take the humble position and submit to a higher Vaishnava and learn from him. Learn from a master, tells you exactly what is to be done, and we are faithful and we practice. We are practitioners. And then, by their mercy, Guru and Gauranga, our consciousness will be coming up. And then we become lovers of Krishna. And this is the ultimate goal of devotional service, to become pure devotees, true and sincere in our devotion, no duplicity, no falsity. We just want to be genuine, honest, pure devotees of Krishna. Do devotional service, unconditional, pure. This is the ultimate message of Srimad Bhagavatam in a nutshell. They're leading us gradually, scientifically, step by step, to the postgraduate study, which is really pure devotional service. This gives full satisfaction, complete contentment, and devotion. These are the symptoms of one who actually understood Srimad Bhagavatam. Nevertheless, people who study the Bhagavatam, even as a literature, still get benefit, because it's a purifying process. Hearing, reading, studying, we become purified. So a devotee is very serious about Srimad Bhagavatam. Our whole Vaishnava culture based on the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna establishes himself and our relation, clarifies our true position, Jiva Atman, and he's the supreme Brahman, and we have a relationship with him, so we understand the fundamentals. And the Bhagavatam goes to another level, and it gradually leads us up to the pure devotion, and describes the activities of great personalities, great devotees, and their pastimes, and their message. All the way through, we gain inspiration and strength from them. So we can associate with Krishna through the pages of Bhagavatam. Krishna is directly there. And Prabhupada, and not to speak of Vyasa, emphasizing that one should study these literatures because the transcendental message, Divya Jnana, is directly there. So we just have to keep study and read and seek the blessings of the higher Vaishnavas. Then our life will be successful. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions and comments? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you mentioned how
Yeah.
Srila Vyasa.
Yes.
You mentioned how Srila Vyasa compiled the Bhagavatam just before Kali Yuga.
Yes.
So does that mean that the Bhagavatam was not available before?
And the Bhagavatam was available. It's mainly the Vedic knowledge was orally passed down. See, like by hearing, wasn't a scripture form. See, but it's coming down orally, like by hearing, guru and disciple hearing. See, so the written version of Bhagavatam is basically a recorded sound vibration. See, because this being spoken, and even the Bhagavad Gita, for example, spoken to the sun god before, much before Arjuna. So these literatures, Vyasa compiled it for the men of Kali Yuga. And in the Bhagavatam we see, and there's a beautiful verse also, explains the symptoms of Kali Yuga: short memory, short lives, not very inclined towards spiritual life, sensual weaknesses. These are the symptoms of Kali Yuga. Very weak. We are very weak and short-lived. And we are bombarded with sensuality. We can see the whole world is based on this sensuality. And they're working very, very hard for that because they don't know anything deeper. They don't know any solution to the problems. And the whole purpose of modern scientific research is to find some kind of solution to the miseries of life. Trying to find some conveniences so we can rise up and being so-called civilized. But because they're missing the point, they're creating more problems. So they're not solving the problem. They just think they're solving the problem. But this is a knowledge based on illusions, when they don't have actual solution. And therefore the Bhagavatam offers real solution. And Vyasa compiled and made the scripture in Devanagari. So scholars, great teachers, sincere students of Vaishnavas, they can refer to the authority. So we have a scriptural authority, just like a lawyer has a law book. We have to refer to the authority. Sentiments are not enough. We have to have a scientific understanding and also scriptural authority. And the scriptural authority is based on Mahajanas, great personalities.
So does that mean that exactly this Bhagavatam was available in the
yeah, orally. Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Yeah. Because this is an eternal. Bhagavatam has no beginning and end. Just like this, for our consideration, for our perception, it seems like there's a beginning and end, or beginning of this or that. Just like Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, but to Arjuna. But he also says that I spoke this millions and millions of years ago to the sun god. And so this knowledge, Krishna's pastimes are eternal. Srimad Bhagavatam is not, there's no beginning and end. It's an eternal phenomena, directly Krishna himself.
So even the events with
Yeah, because a lot of these things are repetition also. They come in different contexts. Sometimes they get different personalities in that position. Just like the devas not always the same. Many of the demigods are positions also, like Indra, the sun god. Sometimes Krishna takes the position of those. If there's no qualified personality, so then Krishna, like Surya Narayan, or sometimes another person, Indra, or Brahma. So the pastimes goes on, and sometimes slightly different context, but the similarities are there. It's a repetition. Krishna's got regularity. He's very regulated, although there are some exceptions. Sometimes comes just like but he's got regularity. Yuga avatars, lila avatars, and they're repeating similar context. And sometimes, obviously, Krishna appearing somewhere right now in the universe. The pastimes goes on. There's no end. once we understand the Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna, the Supreme Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there's no beginning and no end. So there's no beginning and no end. It's eternal manifestation. And Vyasadeva made it very clear to us in the system. So the men of Kali Yuga, they can somehow comprehend even then under guidance, because it's a very deep, esoteric, transcendental topic. So we go through these topics.